Hi, this is Marissa Redenbaugh, your Juvenile Services Librarian. I'm here today to read you books from this week's theme, Beach. I hope you enjoy the books today, and when I get done, Racheal will come on to talk to you about this week's craft. The first one is called Day at the Beach, written and illustrated by Tom Booth. One sunny morning on a quiet, sandy beach, as sleepy seagulls swooped and swayed to the soothing sound of the waves, Gideon and his sister Audrey raced toward the ocean. Every summer, Gideon and Audrey would build a sandcastle together. Gideon made sure each tower stood straight, every wall was level, and all the castle sides were smooth. Audrey made sure the castle sparkled with seashells, sea glass, and a starfish on top. But this summer, Gideon had a different plan. He was going to build the most stupendous sand castle the beach had ever seen. Alone, all by himself, no Audrey. Sandcastles are serious business, he told his sister. Go play with Mom and Dad. The new king of the beach has work to do. Audrey marched off. Gideon started digging, shoveling, burrowing, tunneling, piling, and scooping. He made sure each tower stood straight and every wall was level, and just as he smoothed out the sides of the castle... Heads up, kid! Sorry, kid. Next time don't build so close to our game. That was just a practice castle, Gideon replied. He picked up his tools, walked farther down the beach, and started all over again. Gideon made sure each tower stood straight and every wall was level. And just when he smoothed out the sides of the castle, phew, his second castle didn't last much longer than the first. His third castle would have been perfect, but it was swept away with the tide. His fourth castle would have won awards, but it shrank beneath a passing shower. His fifth castle was almost legendary, but it flew away with a strong breeze. And his sixth castle? Woof! That's it! Gideon's patience had run out. He grabbed his bucket and shovel, then set out to look for a new spot where nothing and no one could interrupt him. And finally, he found one. Perfect, Gideon said. He quickly got to work. Wait until Audrey sees this. I am truly the king. Gideon built and he built and he built, and then he built some more. He made sure each tower stood straight, and every wall was level. And as he smoothed out the sides of the castle, everyone on the beach started to walk over. Awesome! Whoa! Come and see what this kid has built. You are the king of the beach. How did you do that all by yourself? Gideon loved the crowd's chants and cheers, but then he spotted Audrey building a sandcastle with their mom and dad, and Gideon suddenly felt very lonely. He jumped down and walked across the beach. Audrey's castle didn't have straight towers, level walls, or smooth sides, but it did look like fun. Gideon glanced over his shoulder at his castle. Then he looked at Audrey's. Room for one more? He asked. Audrey grabbed the bucket from her big brother. On one condition, she said with a grin. We finish building it together. That looked like a wonderful fun day at the beach, didn't it? The next book is called Little Turtle and the Changing Sea by Becky Davies, illustrated by Jenny Poe. It began with a thunderstorm. The rain lashed and the waves crashed as Little Turtle pushed her way out of the nest and onto the wet sand. She needed to be quick. One flipper in front of the other, she pulled herself down the beach and toward the safety of the sea. Thunder rumbled in the sky as Little Turtle slipped into the sea for the very first time. The water rose to meet her and she was tossed and turned in the spray. Which way was up? Tiny turtles splashed all around her, calling, "Swim, swim!" Just when Little Turtle's flippers were tiring, she managed to hitch a ride. Her journey had begun. Warm currents carried Little Turtle over a carpet of color. She danced with the swaying seagrass. She swam with fish of every shape and size. "What beauty!" she said. Happy and content, Little Turtle climbed into a cozy hole in a rock and slept. Months passed and Turtle was no longer little. She had outgrown her hideaway. But she would never outgrow the ocean. Turtle swam onward through miles of dazzling open water. She was alone, but she didn't feel lonely. The ocean was her friend. At last, Turtle's journey was complete. She had made it to the other side of the world. "Home," sighed Turtle. And what a home it was! Foraging and feeding, Turtle lived there happily for many years, until one day it was time for her to return to the beach across the ocean where she had been born. She made this same journey many times, but found that each time the trip was different. She saw new sights, made new friends, and welcomed some new little turtles into the world. Turtle, too, was different. As she grew each year, her love for the ocean grew with her. Then one day, the ocean itself was different. Colors disappeared, and Turtle found strange new creatures swimming beside her. "Friend?" she asked, but she was met with silence. The strangeness grew and grew. Nothing looked the same, and Turtle felt lost in the place she knew most. The ocean no longer felt like a friend. "Hello?" she spoke into the darkness. But Turtle was alone. Just when Turtle thought her journey was over forever, figures emerged from the strangeness and swam toward her. Turtle was free! Little by little, she watched as they tended to the seagrass, the coral, and her friends. Then they cleaned up the garbage. "Thank you," she said. They had returned her to the ocean and began to return Turtle's ocean to her. It was beautiful once more, and she loved it with her whole heart. And these are resources about what garbage does to the ocean and what things you can do at home. I thought the colors and the pictures on that one were especially beautiful. This next one is called "If You Ever Want to Bring a Piano to the Beach, Don't," by Elise Parsley. If your mom says to get ready to play at the beach, she means with a boat, or a frisbee, or a shovel. She is not talking about the piano. If you roll the piano out anyway, she'll tell you, "You'd better not lose it." You tell her it's okay. You will hold on tight to your piano and keep it neat and clean, and you'll even promise to push it to the beach yourself. Cross your heart. But on the way, your arms will get heavy, then your legs will get draggy, so you'll find the perfect way to move the piano along. When you feel rested, you will push again. Once you're at the beach, you'll need to make sure the piano still works. Finally, you'll stop for a lunch break. The seagulls will want to share your egg and cheese sandwich. This, you know, is not good for the piano, but you'll know just what to do. Bath time! You'll splish, you'll splash, the piano will bob up and down, then up and away. And out of reach. By now, of course, you'll wish you had played with a boat or a frisbee or a shovel at the beach instead of the piano. By now, you'll wish you had played with your baby sister instead of the piano. You'll be so mad you will want to just go home. Well, here's what I would do if I were you. Borrow your brother's fishing line and cast it far, far out to catch your drifting piano. Then, when you reel the line back in, you might get your piano back. Or you might get a boat, or a frisbee, or a shovel. Yeah, if you ever want to bring a piano to the beach, don't. You might lose it. But you never know what you might find. Look at that beautiful sunset. And way in the distance there's that bobbing piano. This is a funny little series. And the author wrote a few more of these if you ever want to bring a series of books. The last book we're going to read for today is called Scaredy, Squirrel at the Beach by Melanie Walt. Scaredy Squirrel never goes to the beach. He'd rather vacation at home alone where it's safe than risk being surrounded by the wrong crowd. A few crowds Scaredy Squirrel wouldn't want to be caught in the middle of. Flocks of seagulls, tribes of jellyfish, herds of sea monsters, packs of pirates, tons of falling coconuts, mobs of lobsters. So he's perfectly happy to build his very own private beach. Scaredy Squirrel's Guide to Building a Safe Beach. What you need to get started. Paper and crayons, 1 stick, 1 inflatable pool, 1 plastic flamingo, 1 bag of kitty litter, 1 flashlight. 1. Draw beach scenery. 2. Use stick to hold upright. 3. Cover the ground with sand. 4. Inflate ocean. 5. Turn on sunlight. 6. Install beach wildlife. And enjoy. It looks like a beach and feels like a beach, but it doesn't sound like one. Scaredy Squirrel notices something's missing. The sound of the ocean. The solution? Make a quick trip to the real beach and find a seashell that fits the description below. Germ-free, shiny exterior, crystal clear ocean sound. Red alert. Seashell must not, I repeat, not be occupied. But traveling to the real beach requires careful planning. First, get a passport. Second, draw a map. And this is his timeline here. And last but not least, travel light and dress accordingly. Exhibit A, protective headgear for falling coconuts. Exhibit B, protective eye patch to fool the pirates. Exhibit C, flotation device to prevent sinking. Exhibit D, protective camera to discourage sea monsters. Exhibit E, protective compass to avoid getting lost. Exhibit F, protective footgear to shield from jellyfish. Exhibit G, protective rubber band to tame lobsters. Exhibit H, protective oven mitts to block germs. Exhibit I, protective French fry to distract seagulls. Remember, if all else fails, play dead and send an SOS. The next morning, as planned, Scaredy Squirrel jumps into the box. At 7:30 a.m., he gets picked up. They drive and drive. At 8:42 a.m., Scaredy gets dropped off and waits. And waits. 11:42 a.m. A crowd appears. People were not part of the plan. Scaredy Squirrel panics and plays dead. 30 minutes later, 1 hour later, 2 hours later, finally, Scaredy Squirrel realizes that the perfect seashell is right under his nose. Surrounded by friendly people, he decides to join the crowd. Scaredy Squirrel builds sandcastles, takes pictures, floats around in the ocean, and sunbathes with the others. He forgets all about the flocks of seagulls, the tribes of jellyfish, herds of sea monsters, packs of pirates, tons of falling coconuts, and mobs of lobsters. He's glad to be part of the crowd. Back home, after a day of fun in the sun, Scaredy Squirrel is inspired to make one more important addition to his own beach. A crowd of garden gnomes. P.S. As for Scaredy's next visit to the beach, it might be sooner than he thinks. He turns out it wasn't so scary after all. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's books about the beach, and up next will be Racheal to tell you about the craft.
Hi friends, I hope you enjoyed all the stories this week. For your curbside craft, you're going to make a palm tree, like a setting, like a beach setting with a palm tree on it. So you'll get this for your kit. You'll get a bunch of pieces of paper and then 3 brown pom-poms. And then, so that's really the only 3D part that you'll have. The rest of it is just paper. So what I did was I took the light blue piece of paper as my background, and then the yellow piece, I cut like a little sun shape that would fit in the corner of the paper, glued that up there, and then for the dark blue paper, I made like little waves so it looked like the ocean. And then on this side, I have just a white piece of paper, and I colored it brown, just so it looked a little bit different than the brown paper on the palm tree. And then for the palm tree, you'll get just a strip of paper, so you're gonna wanna cut that like very thin and kind of like a wave so that it's not sticking straight up. And then for the green paper, you're going to cut out little leaves for the palm trees, and I just did 5 of them. And then in the middle, I put my 3 brown pom-poms. So that's your curbside craft. And then your printable craft is very similar, but it's all paper. So you've already got the leaves there for you, the 3 coconuts for the middle there, the sunshine, the palm tree, the trunk, and then here you've got your little island. So I glued that down. I made my own little blue lake and just colored like a darker blue at the top, or ocean I mean. And then I colored everything, glued down my palm tree leaves just like I did on the other one, put my coconuts in the middle with the sunshine, and I colored the background blue so it looked like the sky. So pretty simple crafts, and I hope you enjoyed the stories and that you enjoy the crafts, and we'll see you next time.